Well, welcome to Wattsall Stadium on this lovely Boxing Day afternoon, where once again Bradford Northern entertain Halifax in the Stones Bidder Championship. Bradford Northern, looking at their team lineup, have David Watson at number one, and throwing off as a surprise with Paul Medley being switched from the hook-in position, which he'd done so successfully the last few weeks, to the right wing. Daryl Shelford is welcome back return for Daryl at number 3 after being out for quite a couple of weeks with a nose injury. Paul Newlove, the prolific striker for Bradford Northern, at number 4, and Steve McGowan this time being preferred on the wing. Neil Summers, another Wattsall favourite, back in the ranks. He's been out for a few weeks with a bit of a hamstring problem. Derek Fox, the captain, at number 7. David Hobbs, Trevor Clark and John Hamer form a mighty front row, and with Roy Powell, Paul Dixon and Carl Fairbank at loose forward. David Heron and Paul Gratian are the substitutes. The Halifax side, they welcome back one of their big signings of the summer, Steve Hampson. He takes over from Steve Lay, who had a rather traumatic experience at fullback at Wattsall a couple of weeks ago in the Regal Trophy quarter-final, and they switch Graham Hallis from the left centre position to the right wing, and vice versa, switch John Bentley from the right wing to left centre. Maybe something in the fact that Medley will be in straight confrontation there with Mark Preston and want more defence on that side. But their three-quarter lineup is Hampson at 1, Hallis, John Schuster, the Kiwi, John Bentley and Mark Preston, Michael Hagan, the captain, at 6, and the Bradford prodigy from Dudley Hill, Chris Robinson, at number 7. Their front row, John Fieldhouse, Roy Thitherwood, he gets recalled. Bit of a shake-up again by the Halifax coach, Malcolm Rayleigh, him preferring the former Castleford player to Johnny Lawless, who I thought had an outstanding game against Bradford a couple of weeks ago. And Gary Lords at number 10, with Perrott and Michael Jackson, who was in-form player for the moment, Halifax in the second row, and Gary Devarty, the ball playing loose forward, at number 13. And their substitutes are Steve Lay and David Boyd. Obviously Halifax, a lot to prove, beaten off the park a couple of weeks ago by Bradford Northern. Bradford Northern, of course, Peter Fox will have instilled on that they get next week's semi-final against Castleford to be played here. Out of their minds, they'll be concentrating on today's game. And straight away it's Graham Hallis who's coming from the wing to get the game away. It's a long deep kick. David Watson, who I'm sure will be seeing a lot more of today, driving that ball in. And straight away Halifax being caught offside. Rather silly, taking all that pressure off Bradford Northern, the kind of early pressure which they wanted. Fox puts the ball into touch. And straight away Trevor Clark. Bradford Northern bringing the man inside, John Hamer. Halifax led himself. He'll be looking to impress. David Hobbs. Big game winning from David Hobbs today. And straight away our referee today saying no nonsense. Just a bit of an interesting fact today. Ellery Hanley got sin-binned twice in today's game against Wakefield for holding down in the tackle. We're just interested to see whether today's referee Russell Smith, the former Bradford Northern halfback, whether he operates that same consistency. Trevor Clark out to Roy Powell. Roy Powell, who along with Paul Dixon and Carl Fairbank has hit a rich vein of form in the last few weeks. Here's the man himself, Carl Fairbank. I suppose Halifax could say one that got through the net. Played for the Ellen Junior team, David Hobbs. Ball playing prop forward, and straight away Stephen Hampson with that distinctive scrum cap on, closing David Hobbs down very, very quickly. Trevor Clark, just 10 metres. Summers, that little chip too, that's been so successful. Has he got the pace? Yes, he has. Lovely try for Bradford Northern. A move that they've worked time and time again. This time it's Steve McGowan. So just after 2 minutes, Bradford Northern breaking the deadlock with a superb try, engineered there by Neil Summers with that little chip through. The Halifax defence coming up very, very fast. I'm afraid this is the penalty that teams that play this tight defence, this is the penalty they have to pay when they're coming tight like that, especially on their own line. I'm very surprised that coaches still persist in playing this defensive format, which leaves them wide open for that little kick through. So this time it's Stephen Hampson who'll be starting the game, not Graham Hallis. Shuts it through. Well, Medley with his first touch of the game. Medley, of course, a former Halifax player. Came to Bradford Northern in somewhat controversial terms when Brendan Hill left Oxford to take the opposite route to Halifax. And once again it's Dave Watts. Carl Fairbank wanting an early ball, but Bradford very, very quick with his play the balls. A chance out of no love. He brushes off Schuster, tries to get the ball round Graham Hallis. Get that Steve McGowan away, and Bradford Northern looking very, very sharp in these early stages. Stiff arm tackle going in there. And once again, Mr. Smith, Johnny on the spot, pulling up Gary Lord. So once again, it's a silly penalties from Halifax, allowing Bradford Northern to get out of prison with his easy penalty, taking all the pressure off them. Fox making no mistake. So Fox bringing Powell on the outside. Be interesting to see how Steve Hampson goes. Not the best to play the balls. Is that knock on from Trevor Smith? From Trevor Clark? Yes, as referee Smith. Seems to me to be a bit of interference at that play of the ball, not really giving Trevor Clark and Roy Powell much option. So, Chris Robinson. This time, a Bradford player playing for Halifax. Ball goes in. First of all, it's a long pass, not the best of passes to Preston. Ball going to the deck. Paul Medley just going in to let Preston know that he's been in the game. So Bradford Northern putting early pressure on. Just on Preston's behalf there. They're not the best of passes really. Difficult ball to take, a little bit behind him. But once again, Halifax really carrying on from where they left off in the previous encounter. And the state-ridden game by there, I'm sure their coach, Malcolm Riley, won't be too happy about that. So Summers this time giving, I'm quite sure that was Fairbank. I think it would, yes, it was Fairbank. Him and Dixon, very similar players. David Olsen, now look long, there's a ball. Shelford on the outside, but straight away John Bentley closing the gap. This time it is John Hamer, taken just to the 10 metres in that Halifax line. This is where Bradford Northern like to put their options on, like to play their little moves. Fox with a run round to the big gap there to Fairbank, who ploughs through. Superb pass, just couldn't be held there by Paul Dixon. Ethan keeps asking the referee what he caught just prior to being tackled, but Mr. Smith said no, it was a knock-on, son. But once again, good enterprising play from Bradford Northern. The strength and the power of Fairbank very much to the fore on that occasion. Chris Robinson putting that ball behind it, loose forward. They say it is a mockery really, the scrums these days. Now it's been said many, many times. Jackson shimmying through. A good 2-3 good drives there from Halifax. Robinson at that pivot where they'll be bringing John Fieldhouse on. Southern will switch in play. This time it's Bradford Northern having to chase back. Well, bit of a mistake there. Once again, if anybody can criticise David Watson, which is a very, very difficult thing to do, the way the man's been playing, it does tend sometimes to be a little bit casual, getting underneath those balls. And on that occasion, a kick through there, both Medley and Watson, rather casual, and a good chasing game there that particular time by Preston, putting Bradford under a little bit of pressure. Fortunately, the ball went into touch, and Bradford now being able to relieve the pressure, bringing the ball away from this scrum. Good work from Carl Fairbank, who's got really round from the scrum. Excellent play that from Carl Fairbank. Really back to his Great Britain form. Nice to see. Really is a tower of strength in this Bradford pack when he's on form, is Carl Fairbank. As is this man, David Hobbs, but this time just starting to stutter a little bit and actually losing ground on that particular drive. Fox gaps out wide, got a man inside, gets the ball beautifully away. David Watson showing his handling skills. Not only a tricky runner, a very, very good all-round play, David Watson. Very much underrated in the ball handling skills. That's an excellent kick, putting the ball right in the Halifax corner. So it's all Bradford Northern in these early stages. Chris Robinson just rejecting one of the balls there, like a tennis player. Probably thought that one's a little bit slippy. Once again, feeding the ball. Hampson coming into the line, but being picked up and unceremoniously dumped on his back. Back out, Schuster coming in from the centre. Quick play the ball. This time it's Divorcey just slipping on that little bit of snow. He has that distinctive step as he comes in. Shimmies one way, sidesteps the other. Lord taking the ball forward again for Halifax. Southernwood trying to shoot away from Hart in half-back, but a good chase and a good tackle. Was he on the ground? No, says Mr. Smith. Bentley in broken play, comes across, just steps inside. Bit of a high tackle from Carl Fairbank. Bradford Northern man on the floor. Fox has kicked through. Sorry, Robinson kicking through, but Fox playing something of a sweeper role, manages to pick the ball up. Meanwhile, Neil Suthers just getting a little bit of treatment. Let's hope he's okay. Neil straight back. Shugs the physio off though and gets himself back in position. A little bit of knock on the head. Neil had to leave the field a couple of weeks ago at Castleford with a nasty cut on his head. Suffered also from a little bit of concussion, but the lad's okay now. And he certainly won't want to leave the fray. John Hamer with inside pass there from Trevor Clark. Trevor Clark, who was a very good feed from that in half-back, rifles the ball out, giving Bradford extra yard to concede there. And lovely long pass this time. Watson is in the line, back inside, bit of an obstruction there. Smith misses it. Bradford getting away on that occasion. This time it's Fox again who puts that one in the corner again. Difficult ball for Hallis to chase. Is he going to let it go? Well, he's waiting to let it go, but it hasn't gone. Once again, Hallis taking the wrong option. We see there the benefit that we've talked about weeks and weeks of over these commentaries, how that ball holds up in the corners now. Derek Fox and master now are putting that ball into those corners, but Bradford Northern getting caught there. Silly penalty, not standing square at the play of the ball. Mr. Smith, who's been very, very strict this afternoon. Straight away saying he'll stand no nonsense. Gary Lord drives, not Gary Lord, that was Pettit on that occasion. This time it's John Fieldhouse, drives in. Fieldhouse, who can usually get a good hour out of, will work hard. At the veteran stage is now turned a bit, but a little bit raggedy at the moment. Halifax there. Robinson, he feeds the ball. Big tackle there from Bradford, but the ball went back. Heyman and Jackson having a bit of a scuffle there. Nothing at all wrong though with that particular tackle by the Bradford players there. Referee Mr. Smith. Referee right on the spot. Bit of controversy whether the forward pass or not, but Watson wants the ball blind, but really just acting as a decoy. Summers nearly eluding Hagan on that far side. This time it's Shelford who shoots off from the marker position, taking Bradford to the 22-metre line, as it is in no modern terms, the 25 for the Hull supporters. This time it's a good inside ball to John Hamer, who's really working hard, as he always does when asked to say, around the ruck. This time it's David Hobbs, that's more like it from Hobbs, taking the ball straight and hard. Once again, Watson with many, many options. It's a long pass. Great ball, good tackle from Hallis. Very good defence from Hallis on that occasion. Newlove coming in. Well, a little bit ship-shotty there from Bradford. That'll be the handover. Fieldhouse, as Halifax get stuck in their own quarter, try to drive the ball out. Silly pass going out, and that's a knock-on. So once again, John Fieldhouse hits the floor in frustration, but it's silly play from Halifax, trying to force the ball out in their own 25. Really, the times that Halifax lose this ball, and there must be a few question marks has to be asked. It's Watson now into the line. looking to run through. Second row, Perrott and Jackson both breaking and closing down the gap for him. Trevor Clark. Once again, a very, very bad play of the ball, but it'll be back 2-1. Clark's running through in. Whether there's a bit of interference at his play the balls, I don't really know, but 2 or 3 that have been rather sloppy. This time it's Powell taking Bradford Northern right underneath those posts. This is where Derek Fox likes the options, putting it back inside to Fairbank. Fairbank goes forward, holds the ball up. David Hobbs gets the ball out. Powell has Dixon going to spin down and score. That's a great try. Yes, it is. I thought for a moment he was going to say he's on his back, but the sheer power of the man spinning round. Paul Dixon, another former Halifax player, really putting another nail in the Halifax coffin. Putting Bradford 8-0 in front, and hopefully Derek Fox will have no problem here kicking the goal. So it's time Derek Fox. Yes, he makes no mistakes. That's a 10-0 lead to Bradford Northern. And then getting penalised, I suppose, in the best way that Bradford Northern come, by scoring 6 points. So Steve Hampson again. He'll be looking for Roy Powell on this kick. Well, this time Watson decides that he'll take it, but then he passes to Roy Powell. So whatever Roy did, he couldn't get away from it. As I was talking earlier to one of my colleagues, it's amazing the number of times that Roy Powell finds himself on the receiving end from the kickoffs. Trevor Clark pointing one wall, then the other, giving David Hobbs it down that blind side. Trevor Clark scooting away from acting half-back, then passing the ball to Watson, but a very silly crossing played there. And really, Trevor Clark, when he's going to shoot off like that, he wants to make his man up with going to be one or the other. And it just confuses his players. He wants a nice early ball from the half-back position. And straight away, Schuster being given a chance here to just narrow that gap a little bit. And having no second thoughts about it, it's well within his kick abilities. Tremendous kicker, Schuster, when he's on form. Warrington, of course, very, very much the form team at the moment. And good win at Halifax a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure Bradford Northern didn't expect it to have it so easy early on. But then one has to say that, as I've said earlier, it's Halifax that have been their own worst enemy. So Schuster, the Newcastle Knights centre, former Kiwi player, not being ruffled by all the chanting and through the Bradford fans, a little bit of hassle, but he strikes it and makes no mistake right through the middle, giving Bradford North an early warning that any misdemeanours in that particular area will be penalised by Schuster. As I said, a tremendous strike rate, and he will really punish Bradford Northern should they in any way. So that brings the score down to 10 points to 2. As Fox restarts the game, taking us once again to Schuster, who gets the ball. Not the paciest of players by the looks of it. Now it's Devorty. So Gary Lord there coming as the second runner. Halifax with plenty of options, switching this one inside. It's Robinson who might have a hint of a forward pass there, but Robinson getting away with it on that occasion. Jackson, the benefactor. This time it's Hagan who shoots down. Bradford Northern have been sucked in, and a big defence. Once again, the ball's gone down. Bradford get the ball, get it away. The chance of that way, they can move it. Once again, very good defence from Bradford, forcing the error by Halifax. This time it's Medley who gets the ball. He tries to run through and he's away. Medley. This will be a tremendous strike. The big guy can make it. But what a last-ditch tackle. Bradford now with options out wide. They want the ball out fast. Oh. No love getting caught high, and really Bradford Very, very hard to criticise, but when the three quarters wanted it, unfortunately, a prop forward popped up in the line and just slowed it down a little bit. As it was, Halifax get off the hook, but an early sign there of the danger that Medley's going to score out. So to say, present out wide, ball going down, Nullov on it like a flash. Bradford get the ball again. So once again, Halifax dropping the ball on the second tackle. Now look at Watson coming into the line. Stupid pass from Watson, really. The ones that sometimes come off right on the first tackle. He jumped round, there was no support with him. Looks as though the guy had a bit of a knock as well. Straight away, Derek Fox fills in that vacant position at full-back, seeing Watson get a little bit of treatment. So great play there from the Bradford captain. As Halifax now come forward. Good defence by Dixon and Watson. This time it's Schuster, he cuts inside and Dixon's there again. Throws his man on the floor. Sutherland goes back inside. Hallis can't get the ball away. Brings us to the last tackle. Little bit silly there holding on. Paul Dixon, who worked tremendously hard, making 2 or 3 of the previous 5 tackles, and holds on, and once again there's a silly penalty away. John Hamer, should I say. Sorry about that, Paul. John Hamer giving a silly penalty away, and once again we'll see Schuster here narrowing the gap, when really there was no cause for it. The Bradford defence had got back. And I'm sure that Peter Fox and Nigel Stevenson won't be happy with that. It's really gifting Halifax 2 points. So Schuster will go through his familiar routine. In the meantime, Mr. Smith has seen something on the ground which he wasn't too happy with. Possibly one of the pegs that were holding in the covers that were removed off the ground about an hour before the game started. The covers that have come in so useful to Bradford over these last few weeks. So Schuster certainly takes his time over these kicks. Strokes it sweetly, but this time Bradford Northern get a little bit of a let off. John Hamer breathes a sigh of relief. But it'll be Derek Fox starts the game again. Long deep kick, well taken by Hampson. Whoa! Devoted there, not quite knowing which way to come. I think he thought Hampson was going to run the ball out on his own. And what, he switched it inside to him. So Schuster cutting across, Nullov on him very, very fast. And Summers as well, who would obviously now well recovered from his little knock that he got earlier on. Robinson to Hagan. Hagan options inside and out. Bradford up very, very fast. But well played, and now well. I'm going to say Preston in space outside, but a good tackle from Shelford, forcing Hampson to lose the ball. Now it's Watson. That ball, though, hanging very precariously there as David goes in, turning, spinning, holding that ball up. This time it's Dixon. Despite the attention of 3 Halifax defenders, it takes them a while to get him down. This time it's a Fairbank. He wants a quick play the ball as Fairbank. Fox just holds it up, then gives the ball to Nullov. Nullov with that familiar step inside, and the strength and the power of the man to Summers. This is brilliant play from Bradford, brilliant interchange on that occasion. A brief glimpse of the class of Nullov there, though. Now it's Hobbs out wide, well taken by Watson. Watson floats it out. Medley powers in down that touchline, just a foot in touch. But brilliant 3-quarter play there by Bradford Northern, though. Bradford with a bit of a reputation for being a dour side, but when you see play like that, one wonders how they managed to get it. Steve McGowan looks as though he got a bit of a knock. Nullov seems to be okay, just having a word with him. I'm sure Steve won't want to go off. In his testimony here at Bradford Northern, Lots and lots of competition for these three-quarter positions at Bradford at the moment. Judy Cordell, Brimmer Kebby both missing out today. Oh, Bentley coming in, big defence. So Halifax striving to bring this ball out of their own quarter, should I say, as John Fieldhouse drives forward, loses the ball's on the floor, spinning around, touch just says play on. Referee quite sensibly looking for his touches for a little bit of help. It was on the blind side, the touch just said no, it went backwards, and I tend to agree with him. Very, very shoddy play at the moment by Halifax, and they can't be expected to get away with that one. Too many cooks, the wingman having come into right in the middle of the play there, didn't really know what option to take. Very early substitution here by Malcolm Riley for Halifax. Number 15, David Boyd. Newcastle Knights player coming on for Mark Perry. Well, I think if I was Perry, I'd feel a little bit aggrieved there. Been playing as well as anybody else, tackling up, but Mr. Riley obviously seen something that we haven't. Once again, Bradford pass. Watson got the pace. Hollis has been a little bit aware to it. He goes back, touches it down and makes number 6. Watson goes in, holds his man down behind the line. So the great thing about that is when Bradford Northern do put all these options on, the defence of the opposition is always in two minds. So what option they might take next has to be on the toes, and it gets defences in two minds. And as we've seen there, well, as we saw against Castleford, that particular move coming off superbly today. Hallis just getting a bit of pace back, so it's the crowd's favourite now. Neil Summers driving the ball forward. Well, I was going to say Southernwood working hard for Marcus, shovels right across but missed his man and allowed John Emir to go on another 5-10 metres there. Powell driving forward, hits and spins. Fox and Hobbs now looking at pivot positions. Fox to Hobbs. Hobbs put it round, holds the ball up nicely. A bit crowded on that occasion, but once again a rather scrappy play the ball, and straight away Mr. Smith penalising Paul Dixon for throwing the ball through his legs. I thought he actually caught it with his foot, should I say, as he did it. But it is something that referees have been instructed to clamp down on. The holding down in the tackle, the interfering with the ball at the play of the ball, and of course not playing the ball correctly. So Mr. Smith there taking the rules letter of the law, as John Fieldhouse on a rare occasion brings it into this Bradford half. Boyd, Newcastle Knights, into David Hobbs, Roy Powell. Here's a switch of play from Divorce, holds the ball up nice. Great tackle from David Hobbs. Ball went back, did it come off David Hobbs? Referee saying yes, it came off David Hobbs. But Hobbs, the wily old campaigner in the northern ranks there, saw the danger straight away and closed the gap down. And the actual ball going to Bradford Northern, so David Hobbs not only making a tremendous tackle, but Bradford coming away with the ball. David Watson, and they very, very flat are Halifax in this defence. It amazes me how these full-backs can come into the line time and time again. We've already seen how Bradford have exploited it, and I'm sure if Jerry Cordell had been playing, they'd have been kicking out. This is more like it from Clark, this time going in his own, committing players, taking them in. Lord coming across, a little bit of a late dig, I thought, in my opinion there, with the knees into Clark's back, but the Northern hooker is okay. Dixon caught a little bit flat-footed this time. He'll make sure that he plays the ball properly. Looks at the referee and says, "Was that all right, sir?" So it's Hobbs, gets the ball away. Now, brilliant penny, no love still there. And the posse of Halifax players coming running in, 2, 3, 4 of them. This time Fox hoists it high, runs forward, puts everybody on side. Roy Paul goes underneath it. Fox there to make the tackle. About 10 minutes to go, probably half time. Schuster. Ball goes to the floor. Halifax pick up the gaps out wide if Northern can move it. Good ball to Shelford. Shelford, Medley coming from his wing. The gap was outside. Bit of experience there from the big Bradford Northern lad. Well, had the whistle gone? I thought the whistle had gone. Watson comes in. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Paul Medley there, he just took the wrong option. All he had to do was stand wide. Fox, Bradford very, very deep to Hobbs. Hobbs. And this time McGowan had come in, and that once again, the gap was on the outside. Newell, the kind of play that will hold the ball up and make the gaps. David Hobbs taking Bradford forward, slips the ball brilliantly. Fox. But it's a long ball. Medley wasn't really ready for it. It was a little bit deep. I think a little bit of misunderstanding on the Bradford camp that time. Paul Medley and Shelford both very, very deep. Obviously not expecting the kick. Once again, good tackling this time. Little Derek Fox. Hagen just being held down there. He could have played out into himself. Sutton was shut smacked in half-back. Puts the ball back inside to Boyd. Boyd, the big Australian, taking the ball forward for Halifax now. 10 metres from the Bradford Northern 22. Really climbing all over his man, trying to make the most of it. Robinson switches play to this line side. Hagen holds the ball up. There's the gap for Schuster, but Schuster really not powering onto that ball. Being tackled before he even went into it. Now's the last tackle. A little bit of a knock on. Now then, this could be awkward for Bradford. Watson goes up brilliantly. Good defensive play also by Roy Powell. Got in there, acted as the shield, but there was a definite knock on there. Carl Fairbank trying about him. Carl wants to be very, very careful. He's in an offside position. The referee could penalise him, making no attempt to get back onside. Medley drifted in from the wing. Certainly one of the jewels in the Northern Crown at the moment is this young lad Medley. Outstanding in second row, hooker, and now today on the wing. Only had the ball on 2-3 occasions, but it looked very, very dangerous whenever he touches the ball. Fox taking the pressure off, putting us deep in the Halifax half. Looking for his place as Hallis saunters back. 3 Northern players there. I'm sure Newell will want to give a bit of his own medicine back here. Very, very niggly player, Hallis. This time it's Hansen. John Fieldhouse, that's good play from Fieldhouse. Came across, down the back of the ruck. Making players available. Out to Robinson. Now Devorte. Beautiful ball by Devorte. Newell really just giving him his man the inside on that occasion. Boyd goes forward, drops the ball. Robinson goes in, and there's, unfortunately for young Chris Robinson, Shelford coming inside. 7 minutes to go. David Watson complaining about the length of time it's taking Halifax players to get off to play the ball. Fox to Roy Powell. Once again we see this very, very tight Halifax defence. Bradford Northern being prepared to just play the ball down the middle for the moment and exploit it wider out as Fox shows. On the rare occasion that Derek Fox goes forward, making 10, 15, 20 metres. It's a long play again. This time David Hobbs will be in with the kick. Long ball out. It fouls everybody. McGowan can't take it. Bounces off his knees. Did it know? Said the referee. Mr. Smith wanting to play the ball. But Boyd drives in. Straight into the reception committee of John Hamer and Carl Fairbank. Now it's looking more like it for Halifax. A nice line out here. Bentley gets the ball, but up like a flash. Probably one of the best defensive players in the league in Daryl Shelford. Fieldhouse back down the middle. Manages to get the ball away well though. Southernwood looking around, there's nowhere to go. This time it's Robinson. Robinson ducking and darting. Makes a bit of an inroad into the Northern defence, but not much on that occasion. Hamer clamping the ball up along with David Hobbs, making sure Southernwood can't get that pass out. I mean, no love lost there. Between a former Castleford and a former Featherstone player. In the meantime, the ball being kicked down by Hampson. Will it go dead? It's just holding up. Watson decides to pick it up behind his own try line. Takes it forward, shimmies one way, then goes left. Then eventually decides to give it to Medley. Medley will come inside. Might be a little bit raw on the wing, Mike Paul, but he knows not to go in touch on the first tackle. Shelford steps inside beautifully, bringing us to the last 5 minutes of his first half. Powell coming on the dummy run as Fairbank once again busts through, and he needs men with him. 2 or 3 times now Carl Fairbank's done that, and he stood there holding the ball and there's been no support. Once again Bradford switch it, Fox again going forward. Bradford well for once overdoing it. Robinson's hold the ball, a bit of a gap outside for him, he steps inside, but Bradford Northern defence recovering as Alice shoots off, gets the ball away, back inside to Fieldhouse. Fieldhouse Hagan, gap inside, decides to go. Trevor Clark, the Bradford Northern tacklers. Halifax hit the blind-sided with numbers. To spare, Robinson spins it back. Halifax not very deep, there's not much on here, he has to step inside. Roy Powell aware of the danger, got inside the man on the board, but there's a last tackle, it's a 3-2 situation. Devorta kicks over, will Watson take it on the full? Yes he does, no problems, tap 25. So Bradford winning a quick play the ball. Who's there for it? Carl Fairbank. But decides to get No Love instead. No Love clinging on for dear life with Boyd. A bit of a very, very late shot from Gary Lloyd on Paul No Love then. No Love looks around in disbelief that no penalty had been given. Fox wants the ball. This time he brings Hamer on the inside once again. Bradford Northern making those inroads into this Halifax defence. Once again a very long stride. At last the Bradford Northern supporters feel they've been given justice, a penalty being given. It's just 2 minutes to go, giving Fox a chance to put this ball in the touch for Bradford. Trevor Clark ensuring they get the ball on the 10 yards. Roy Powell, good play by Trevor Clark. Powell had come a little bit early, so the ball couldn't be passed to him. Clark with the awareness to see the danger decides to take the ball in himself. Hamer taking the ball down the middle as he always does. Now it's David Hobbs who comes into the line. He takes Bradford forward, giving Bradford 30 yards on 3 moves. Fox looks to switch play. Inside to Dixon, who goes forward, gets the ball. Powell does it. Brilliant play by Bradford. Once again, classic interchange of passing there. Fox. Dixon scrambling through on all fours. Nearly aquaplaning, throwing a little bit of ice down there. Fox hits the blind. McGowan's in, has a try. Yes, good play by Derek Fox. Great awareness by Steve McGowan. And once again, Graham Hallis been sucked in from his... Really like a little magician, just saw that Graham Hallis had been sucked in only a foot, giving Steve McGowan that little bit of a gap on the outside, which he exploited to the fault, and Derek catches one. Will it come in? He hasn't got his kicking boots on today. So that's 14 points, 2-2. We just about reached his halfway stage. Very cold out there. Substitutes today, Paul Gratian for Bradford Northern and David Heron wrapped up very, very warm. Special jumpers being provided by the Bradford bagman Fred Robinson. Rumour has it that Peter Fox has got his thermals on. So Steve Hampson, will he be looking for Roy Powell again? The ball falls over, the referee stops the clock. Virtually in injury time now, just adding a little bit of time on for what I can't remember. Clock starts again. Roy Powell decides to let it go. Dave Watson's there, and I'm sure Bradford just run the clock down here if there's any sense. Nothing silly. Well, there goes the hooter, which sees Bradford Northern in a 14-2 lead. I would have to say that, well, in my opinion, Halifax are lucky to get away so lightly. The amount of mistakes that they've made, I think the head count for Halifax is 14. For Bradford, I think it's 3. And so let's hope that we can have a bit more open play in the second half, and we'll see the best of Paul Medley. So once again, half-time score, Bradford Northern 14, Halifax 2.
When does it come? I thought that was 3 to Halifax. Went back.
Well, so we go away for the second half. Derek Fox looking round briefly. It looks as though Halifax are as they finished, and ditto for Bradford Northern. I'm sure Malcolm Riley would have a stern word with his charges there regarding their respect the gift of the ball. Halifax losing it on numerous occasions and really letting off Bradford off the hook on 1 or 2 times when really it should never happen. So straight away Halifax looking rather more workmanlike. Jackson, Michael Jackson, the man with the famous name. So Jackson had a bit of a knock on that occasion. Started off as a full-back in his career, built himself up. Hagan this time pushing it through. McGowan's dropped back, that's all on once it touches those legs. Good play though from Big Steve, making very good yards. Meanwhile, Michael Jackson still getting treatment back here, seems to be okay, limping back into the line as Roy Powell brings the ball out down the blind side. What I'm going to say, you tend to get lads like Michael Jackson, who started his career off as a full-back at Hunslet, built himself up. They tend to get a little bit more knocks than lads who are naturally big, and something of a swinging down there from Fieldhouse. Really great professional skills there from Newell, how he ducked and dived underneath that one. Derek Fox putting the ball just inside the Halifax half. Good chase, and maybe there's a time when Bradford could be using Paul Medley. But as I say that, the big guy is just fastening his laces. So on that occasion from that free kick, it was ever reliable John Ameros to take the ball in. Fox acting as the pivot, bringing David Hobbs in. Tackled by Devorty and Sutherworth. Very, very flat. Hobbs as Fox switches the ball to Dixon. Dixon takes the ball down. Trevor Clark's in a bit of a gap. Runs the ball, gives the ball to Powell. Good yards by Clark on that occasion. Bradford Northern now then just outside this 25 as Fairbank wants the ball. Hobbs, he'll floating out wide, holds the ball up. Good play by Hobbs, gives the ball to Fox. Fox shimmies inside, gets the ball back to David Hobbs. Great play. Unfortunately, well, Derek Fox now getting himself in a position kicking, I'm going to say, without, but the gap's out wide. Look at a long pass. Watson back inside. Well, ball going dead there. Possibly Paul Dixon, was it? Or was it Neil Summers? Could just get that ball a little bit alive, a bit more. I've certainly been impressed with the Bradford Northern handling skills so far. Well, I think it was Schuster trying to mill that one. Luckily the referee was on the spot to see as Hagan cut through. Great tackle. Well, nowhere without a free kick. Well, I think it's Paul Nolan looks around in disbelief. That was just a great tackle. from a great player. He cut inside there, closed the gap up, took the man on ball, and Mr. Smith really. I'm afraid, in my opinion, having no justification there of giving a free kick. However, the game goes on. Halifax have got the free kick, and it's John Fieldhouse who takes it into the northern half. And the bad news for Halifax is great tackle there from Trevor Clark is that Michael Jackson has had to leave the field. It looks as though that ankle injury that we spotted earlier on was a little bit worse than we first feared. So then Wood shooting away. And it's Pettit who's come back on for Jackson. Well, a little bit of... Well, I have to be honest, in my commentating position, it didn't look like a forward pass to me in that one, really. We're right up here in the gantry, obviously a lot better view than the referee who's down there at ground level. And little Chris Robinson, he looked around in disbelief, so it's a couple of bad decisions from the referee in the space of a minute as Watson brings his man inside. Really not much yardage in that move. Shelford going right back into the pack. Fox was well like a Trojan, his first man. There's the gap. Summers exploding into that pace which he has. One of the fastest men on the Bradford Northern books, and that includes the pacemen like Cordell and Powell and Medley. Little pun there for Roy. David Hobbs puts the ball inside. Trevor Clark sweeping up for it. Has it gone right? Well, a little bit of luck there for Bradford Northern. Not the best of passes from David Hobbs. But fortunately for Bradford, Derek Fox had just dropped back and was in a position just to clear up the danger. This time it's Dixon. Hamer now taking us forward. Derek Fox. Bradford Northern, every time Fairbank gets the ball, he's making ground straight, running hard and straight. Claiming there being thrown on the ground. Fox there had to hurry that kick a little bit, puts it back. I think it will just be a little bit too hard. Hampson allows the ball to get this time the corners knocked in Bradford's favour. Got to be careful with this free kick. The 3 or 4 players all offside for Halifax. Now they're back. So Bentley decides to run in. Nice little step from Gary Lord as he just stepped inside. Once again, now it's Pettit on for the injured Jackson. So this time it's Halifax keeping it simple. Now it's Halifax drifting into the centre. Derek Fox sizing him down. Shelford chasing his man from marker. Bit of a gap outside if Halifax can manoeuvre it that way, but they can't. Halifax being forced back inside by this very, very hard working Bradford defence. This time it's Hagan who's trying to hit those corners. Now that ball possibly will hold up. It's gone back. Medley's got time to pick the ball up, turn and get off those lines. So good yardage there from Paul Medley. So Halifax on their second visit in 2 or 3 weeks here to Oxford Stadium, learning a bit of the local knowledge there regarding these corners and exploiting it to the full. Watson, he's in the line. Straight into Hagan, who hits him and takes him back 5 metres. David Hobbs taking the easy option. A long kick down to Hampson, who takes it on the fill. Good chasing from Summers and Fox. And Nolov just sized his man down. Brilliant play by Hampson. Sorry to say, by Nolov on Hampson. So Halifax playing with a little bit more purpose this half. Robinson switches the ball in suspicion of a forward pass. Referee says no. Manages to get the ball away, but Robinson couldn't have wished to run into 2 bigger guys and Hamer and Powell. Pettit, he's worked hard since he come back. Gets the ball, not the best of passes. Bradford Northern, do they get the ball? No, they don't, said the referee. Last tackle, Halifax get away with it, so they've still got a chance. It's the last tackle. Robinson puts the kick across the park. Bradford let him catch him, not 10 metres. Last tackle, sorry about that one. Last tackle, yeah. Well, Graham Ellis certainly been drawn in here. Once again, giving away 2 tries. Now he gives away a silly penalty. Goes across to have a word with the linesman. Here comes John Hamer. That little bit of a tap. Takes the ball forward. Things liven up a little bit down there. Mr. Russell Smith acting half back. This time it's David Hobbs. Bringing it around the outside. A bit complicated there by Bradford, but Fairbanks managed to slip his tackle. He gets caught by a high tackle, gets the ball away, out the back passage there. There's nobody in front of him. Referee says play on, back inside. So Northern now in a superb position to attack out wide. Halifax defence sucked right in on that far side. Bradford Northern coming on the right. Hobbs holds it up. Great tackle that time by Lord, I think, on Hamer. Now the overlaps on if Bradford can use the quick hands. The gaps are there, no love. Out to McGavin, outside McGowan is in for number 3. No, the flag's gone down. Yes, it is. Well done, Steve McGowan. I thought the flag had gone down for a minute there. But once again, we saw that very, very tight Halifax defence being breached on the outside. Steve McGowan in for the hat-trick. Always been a prolific try scorer in his days at Bradford. To that corner as Bradford Northern look to bring David Heron into the fray. Not quite sure who'll be coming off. Looks like a superb kick from Derek Fox. Well, the little fella's got his kicking boots on now. Well, it's David Hobbs who's coming off and David Heron who's going on. Well, David Hobbs can say that the damage has been done. He's certainly been an influential figure in the game so far. Certainly worked hard. So 20 points to 2 now in Northern's favour. 13 minutes gone of this second half. A long deep kick, well taken by Watson. He's found Paul Dixon. Powell. Bradford Northern switching play whenever they can. Fox again. Heron with his first touch of the ball. Ground a little bit drier for David today. The kind of player which his style suits the dry grounds. Well, there's many a wag will have a dry comment on that one, but Carl Fairbank shooting the ball into touch. Nice little kick for touch on that occasion. So it'll be Halifax head and ball. Young Chris Robinson, the Bradford-based Halifax scrum half. I don't think he's ever been on the winning side against Bradford. He's worked hard today though to try and get this Halifax side moving. Schuster coming in, stepping inside. Fieldhouse and Bradford very much in the ascendancy at the moment as Halifax move the ball out wide, and that defence, even though the 20 points are 2 in front, still not going to be breached. It's Robinson scooting, I said about the Bradford defence. One can hardly believe it's the same defence that saw St Helens put nearly 50 points past them. Watson takes that one on the full and decides to shoot away. The crowd hold their breath in anticipation every time David starts off on one of those runs. One of the most exciting plays in the game to watch. So Paul Medley's drifting inside. Well, again, a little bit cold stuck on that wing. As this Bradford Northern 6 relentlessly take the ball forward. There's no thrills about it. No frills, should I say. It's basic stuff, then decide to move it out wide to No Love. No Love steps inside. No Love's away again. Class play from No Love is away, the big fella. What a tremendous play from No Love, and he's still going. Just listen to that crowd roar. That was Paul Love at his best. 3 defenders in front of him, and the guy had the strength and the power. Bradford Northern could do it a little bit deeper, and really after the Lord's Mayor's show we see a little bit of frustration there from Carl Fairbank as he kicks away in disgust. Paul Gratian now. They're the Bradford Northern substitute. He's gone to the game for Neil Summers by the looks of it, and probably what will happen is David Heron will go to 6, giving Neil Summers a bit of a rest. It's his first game back after that long time out with the cut face and concussion. He won't want to come off, won't Neil? Certainly boasted the Northern pack. Will the weight of Gratian in that front row? Possibly a good time to bring the youngster on as well. Good gap there for DeVos, he does well. Shelford on that occasion. So as we just enter the Bradford half, once again it's Robinson who moves the ball to Hagan. Thought for a moment Hagan will win a kick, but once again the Bradford Northern defence up very, very fast. Little chip too, but that one's too far from Robinson. Plenty of time for McGowan and Watson to get back. Watson dummies him. Good chase though from Halifax. Holding Watson down in the corner. Back out to McGowan, a bit of a cry for a forward pass from the Halifax fans, but it's a cry of desperation because of no way that pass was forward. McGowan got a bit of a nasty knock there though. Bradford Northern take it back down the blind side. It's one-man rugby at the moment, and if support play should have been with him on that occasion. David Adams slipping and sliding, and Bradford Northern playing basketball stuff now. Wanting a quick play the ball, Bradford, then with the last tackle. Will Bradford run it or will they kick? Fox decides to kick through for the corner. Medley's chasing in. Medley just misses the ball. Has it gone? Yes, it has. No, it hasn't. Anybody's ball at the moment. Preston knocking on. Bradford getting ahead. And the put in. Great chase there from Paul Medley, and it's all happening here at Dotswell at the moment. Deft little kick there from Fox. Saw the Halifax defence a little bit in disarray. Looking down the blind side. Didn't really, obviously a set piece there. Wasn't the best of executed moves, but those are the ones that you learn from. Being wilded a bit of a gap out here as Alice steps inside, but there's no way around him. Once again, Shelford, and a bit of a right cross there from Hallis. Never seen to niggle me to amaze me how much this player can niggle and upset and put his defence into disarray by the stupid things that he does. However, Robinson stepping forward. Didn't really have the strength to get through there, but he feeds the ball out to Boyd. As I said before, one of the many Newcastle Knights players. Well, this time Bradford been accused of dragging the ball out. So Hallis puts the ball into touch. And as we just go into the last quarter of the game, it's still a scoreline of Bradford Northern 20, Halifax 2. As Halifax just to come outside the Bradford 22. Good switch of play. Well, I think it was Hagan and that came in caught very, very flat. So then Wood's gone away from himself. Mr. Smith, there's nothing wrong with that. Seems to be a cluster of Northern players in front of him, though. Well, if Halifax, I'm going to say if Halifax play the ball quickly and move the ball to the right, they did have the numbers. But the Halifax player, he's picked up a bit of an injury and it's given Bradford Northern time to reform that defence. So now that the numbers are all in order. There's a nice little kick through and that's great play. And that's a good try. So Bradford Northern being caught out there again by the same move that has seen them score 2 tries. And this time it was the pace of the flying West Yorkshire policeman John Bentley, who just shot in the corner, in the corner. And that's possibly the beauty of this team that Peter Fox has built, that he has a number of players who can play in 2, 3, 4 positions, all extremely well. Fox with a little bit of change in kick-off this time, just puts it forward to Bentley, the try scorer, who tries to cut inside. Some of the straight swap from McGowan on that far wing. Good defence there from Cal Fairbank and Boyd. And look how hard the guy's working from marker. He'd come right across. Robinson gets the ball away well to Fieldhouse. Bradford haven't moved up outside. A bit of a gap, he's got to come in. Referee quite happy saying the ball's gone back, giving play on. But somebody's there, no problems. Devote. Similar style to David Heron in the way that he catches the ball and steps in. Robinson putting the ball into the corner. Watson's read it well, he's dropped back. Medley allowed Medley to pick it up, and Medley picks it up. He'll run straight at the winger, which he does do. To Shelford, who spins round. Paul Grayson with, I think it's his first touch of the game. This time it's Hamer who's... That's a really good cheer from the crowd there. Very, very good yardage. Took that ball on the full, at pace. Derek Fox kicking into that corner. Obviously, Peter Fox with him out, Preston possibly to the wing of that. Bradford going to put the pressure on. Great chase there by Derek Fox from his own kick. Hampson, one of his rare excursions into the lines, working hard to get up. Possibly caught Darryl Shelford there with a flying boot, but Darryl seems to be okay. He gets his position back in the line. Robinson to Boyd. Boyd to the gap. Hallis just can't step through. Well, he still gets that ball away. Schuster stepping in for the first time in the game. Schuster's looked dangerous and he steps the ball to Robinson. He gets another good pass out and the overlap's on here now. Preston's cut inside, showing all the pace that he brought with him from Wigan, but he just can't get away from this Bradford defence. That time it was David Heron. Boyd holding on to that ball a little bit on. The numbers are out there. Summers has been sucked in, but the ball just gets thrown anywhere. Bradford Northern get the defence, scared over. Dave Watson still striving to get away with one of those exciting runs. Back out to Paul Grayson, makes good yardage, and this is why Peter Fox has brought this youngster into the lineup. Take a bit of the weight off John Hamer's shoulders with those drives. Bradford do well to get that ball away. The big gap here now as Fairbank breaks away. Once again looking round for support. And it's Fox pushing Hampson really well back. Hampson, does he let it go? He looks at it, gives it second thought, says no, it can go in the corner. Just to save confusion and the chaos that used to go on when scrums were on the line, brought back to that 10-metre line, with the home side getting the put in. An official crowd of 11,000. Very, very good. Although I suppose one or two of the older people who said a game, I can remember when this game used to bring 49, 50,000. Good play by Egan, he's got a man outside him. Bentley away from Summers. Watson's come across, throws the ball inside. And it's Devosi who scores, and Northern going over for the rest 20 minutes of a quarter of an hour, have a match on the hands. David Watson came across, had his man lined up, but good play there from Bentley, the centre who's now on the wing, bringing his centre skills into play, just slipping the ball inside. So Schuster gets well underneath it, and very, very close that one, just shaves the post, but they all count. So Schuster making the score 20 points to 12, 11 minutes to go. Is there cause for concern in the Northern camp? When asked to ask, Derek Fox puts the hard one through. Hampson there, being sensible, bringing the ball down with his knees. Puts the goal, but Bradford Northern now moving up very, very fast.
10 metres out from the goal line.
Fieldhouse, a little from being dead and out of the game. Halifax now got a new lease of life. Coming all good far, and maybe they can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Really, what's happening is that Bradford, whereas before they were coming up and knocking these Halifax players down, they're now allowing Halifax to run at them, and they're causing all kinds of problems, especially Robinson and Hagan as the ball switches inside to the danger man Bentley. Bentley man's away again. He's certainly on a bit of a roll at the moment, is Bentley, and that's the last tackle. This time it's Hagan who puts the ball into the corner. Watson should take it on the full, and he does, and decides he's going to have a little bash now. But every time Watson gets the ball, they're very, very much aware of his danger as 2, 3, 4 Halifax defenders force him into the corner.
Trying to contain Bradford.
Gratian now. He drives the ball forward. Great yards. Can't find it. Is that a little knock on? Yes, it is. Or is it a free kick? My eyes deceive me. It's a little bit of a knock on, the ball being stolen. So once again, Halifax being their own worst enemies right at the time when they're putting Bradford under tremendous pressure to give a little silly penalty away. And Derek Fox, as he always does, punishes them to the full with a long, raking 50-yard penalty. Trevor Clark gives the ball to you-know-who takes us just short of the Halifax quarter. I'm sure Bradford Northern will push one down this side and switch it back again. It's to Gratian. Gratian. Being pulled down. Man underneath him, man on top of him. David Heron. David Heron just holds that ball up for Paul Dixon to take the ball straight to the post. Bradford Northern with numbers on the far side. To the man who can exploit it. Watson's in the line, he steps back, sets one way, then goes left, right, and he's still knocking people off, but there's no way through from him. Slips the ball, the big gap for Flower. All he's got to do is go for a line. Dixon stands up. Halifax close it down very, very quickly there. Gaps out wide again. Halifax are nice and tight. Be a long ball across. There it goes again. And there's a bit of a fracas as we go along. 1-2. Now everybody's going across. I'm sure they're going to sort it all out. But once again, we see there now that looked like Daryl Shelford, who just scraped over there for me. One wonderful football from Bradford. But one has to say again, the compact defence that Halifax play is wide open for any footballer like David Heron. Well, Neil Summers it was. Anybody that plays this compact defence of Halifax has done, they're going to get penalised, and it's happened 4 times today. And one wonders when they've got a man of the calibre of Malcolm Riley as the Great Britain coach, that these things happen. And it looks as though John Bentley's been sent to the sin bin. And is it Paul Dixon as well? Or Dave Watson? Well, those lads might as well jump straight in the shower because there's only 7 minutes left. Got to be an early bath for those 2 lads. Still a little penalty, and Bradford Northern squeezing the corner. Is that going to go over? Yeah, it is! He certainly likes that side of the ground, does Derek. Catching those balls superbly. So possibly gallant as this fight back by Halifax has been. Possibly just a little bit too late now as Bradford Northern once again edge in front. Just doing enough. This time a little bit of change of tactics. Well, Bradford get the ball, is it a knock on? Mark Preston and John Hamer. One or 2 words there. Possibly just boiling over that little bit of an incident in the far corner. Robinson feeds the ball literally. The goal's all back. Is Carl Fairbank offside? Yes, he is, said Mr. Smith. Carl said, well, I can't understand that one. The ball was out of the scrum. Surely had every right to go for it. Well, Mr. Smith didn't seem to think he had, and gives Halifax a free kick. So Southernwood, Gary Lord really on with a head of pace that time. Straight into Trevor Clark. Bradford up very, very fast. Picking the man up, throwing him back. It's more like it from Bradford. That urgency which has been missing for the last 5 or 10 minutes in the tackling. Now been returned. But Halifax still prepared to throw the ball about. Hagan. Schulze steps inside. Schulze looks a little bit dangerous, something like the player that we all know he is in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, Southernwood shooting under the post, so it's end-to-end stuff at the moment. And once again we see a free kick being given away, being penalised to the ultimate with a try, and that can only be good. So Roy Southernwood, who's, as we said earlier, just taking over the hooking position from young Lawless in the Halifax side, justifying the coach's confidence in him by scooting him for a try. So 26-18, fans certainly getting value for money on this Boxing Day. So there's 4 minutes left. Scored. So lovely take by Hampson. So once again away come Halifax. Steve Lay, who's Halifax, nice indeed. Must have been a forward pass. Well, Gary Lord shakes his head in disbelief, but to my mind there was no doubt about that one. Straight away, so Heron. There's a missed move. Shelford coming into the line. Possibly the wrong man to bring on the crash ball out wide. So he might have taken a bit of a knock as well. He's gone down, rubbing ankle. Now here comes Paul Gratian. He shrugs off one, shrugged off two. Paul, who's an expert at slipping that ball in the tackle. Powell stepping out of one, making good yards, sucking Halifax in now. All Bradford Northern have to do is get nice and deep, zip the ball out. Fox decides to go through, just can't make it, and only a last-ditch tackle there. Once again it's Heron. He puts the ball back inside to Hamer. Hamer to Dixon. Dixon turns it down and Clark knocks the ball on. And Halifax come away with the ball, so Bradford Northern's a little bit guilty of pushing it a little bit too much, but when you're 26 to 18 up with only 3 or 4 minutes to go, one can't. If they come off, everybody were well pleased. Hampson going nowhere. Shelford seems to be as okay. Summers acting at emergency full-back for the sin bin, David Watson. So Hagan holding the ball up, puts it back inside. Should see a more open game now. It's on the 12th side. Gaps on both sides whenever teams are attacking. Halifax acting half-back. Crowd open up, drive it himself. Good play from Halifax again. Hagan tries to put a kick in, but not the best of kick. And Halifax get the ball again, and it's back to one. Bradford Northern making something of a pig's ear of that one. The gaps are out wide, so the Wood Souls a nice long pass out here. So it's all hands to the deck now as Bradford Northern, 12-man defence. Halifax nice and deep, move the ball out wide. It's a 2-1 situation. No Love showing all his class. Great play there, stupid kick by Steve Hampson. Obviously a man short on max experience there, but when an overlap was on there, No Love showing all the experience. That's seen him playing Australia and New Zealand, getting up fast, getting between the man who's carrying the ball and the outside winger, and of course, and as does 9 times out of 10, as I keep telling youngsters, the man carrying the ball decides to take the wrong option, and Bradford Northern getting away scot-free, what really should have been a try. Well, the 40 minutes are up in this half, and so really we'll just see Bradford Northern think they'll have had the wood at this time. Probably just see these 3-4 drives and a long kick into the corner from Fox. Now we see Gratian. Gratian wants to be taking that ball straight and hard though. Uses the momentum when he tries to step inside. Good ball out to Fox, but Fox puts it down. And Fox, well, did that go forward? I didn't think so. I don't know what you thought, but Mr. Smith thought it did, so it'd be a scrum down. And I think that's possibly Derek Fox's first error of the game. And when a man is involved in the game as much as Fox, that's a tremendous achievement. Really at the hub of everything that Bradford do. Halifax switch it down the far side. It shows through, cuts inside. Once again, we see that rather dubious play the ball from Schuster as he just throws the ball between his legs. Normally, well, that surely has to be a free kick. So commenting on Schuster's play the ball, normally wouldn't complain, but when Paul Dixon would have been penalised for not playing it properly. So Derek Fox puts the ball right on the halfway line. Trevor Clark wanting to get on with this. Referee bringing them back. I personally thought that kick went a little bit further than that. This time it's Dixon who comes in and spins round. And he's now inviting players to come and tackle him. Certainly been a powerful performance from this Bradford Northern 6. Clark shoots away. Southernwood closes the gap up, shadowing his opposite number. There goes the final whistle. A very entertaining game. Bradford Northern slipping up a little bit in the latter stages, but a final score. Bradford Northern winning very, very convincingly at 26 points to 18.